of Laurel, Nebraska. We bring you the memories of the victims.
Plus, the legal proceedings against Carrie and Jason Jones are still underway more than 1 year later. Hear from the community about why they say it's time to wrap things up.
You still have time to donate the gift of life. That's right. Blood Donor Day is underway right now. Come on out to Southern Hills Mall. We're going to have all the details you need to know about today's Blood Donor Day ahead. News 4 at 6 starts right now.
From KTIV, Siouxland's news channel, this is News 4 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. It is 1 year later, and countless questions remain about a quadruple murder in Laurel, Nebraska. August 4th, 2022, just after 3 a.m., crews in Laurel responded to the first scene of what was initially reported as an explosion. At about 9:30 that same morning, crews responded to another house just 3 blocks away for the reports of smoke coming from that home. Hours later, the Nebraska State Patrol confirmed investigators found 4 bodies at the 2 scenes, that of Jean, Janet, and Dana Twyford, and Michelle Ebeling. KTIV's Irvin Doman and Matt Hoffman returned to the scene today to speak with community members who remember the victims of this tragedy.
I'm here where crews first responded to reports of an explosion at Michelle Ebeling's house at 209 Elm Street. The house is now gone, but the memory of the victims remain.
Michelle, we never got to know them that long, probably 3 or 4 months. They were good people, didn't bother anybody or hurt anybody.
1 year after 4 people were murdered in Laurel, Nebraska, family, friends, and community members remember those who lost their lives.
I guess never really thought about it, but there isn't a day that goes by I don't think about Gene.
For one of the Twyford's lifelong friends, remembering the good days helps keep their memories alive.
Gene, in his younger years, he was kind of a wild man. Overall, he was a pretty good person, I think. Yeah. Like I said, I've known him for many, many years and was at his wedding when he got married.
For one neighbor, it's about trying to lend a helping hand to Michelle Ebeling's fiance.
He still struggles with it quite badly. We talk every week and try to get him through it.
Community members say there are physical reminders of the victims all around town, like this empty lot. And that makes it all the more difficult as KTIV's Matt Hoffman picks up this story just across the street where the alleged killers used to live. Not much has changed physically here at the Carrie and Jason Jones residence from a year ago. The windows are still boarded and the vehicles are still in the driveway. But their lives have changed tremendously. Both now jailed, facing murder charges. Senseless violence. That's what community members have described the killings. Motive hasn't been fully established. But in a court hearing, prosecutors laid out part of their case. That, in Carrie Jones's mind, Jean Twyford was harassing her, and her husband needed to take care of the problem, or she would. Prosecutors say Carrie Jones goaded Jason Jones into killing Jean Twyford, but things spiraled, leaving others in the home dead.
Pretty well admitted they did it. It's just that why? It's so bizarre.
Alan Pallas witnessed someone who prosecutors say is Jason Jones murder Michelle Ebeling just inside her front door. Pallas spoke with investigators a year ago, but on the day of the killings, police initially said they were searching for a different person of interest.
Thinking they were just knew at that time this person was held up across the street and they didn't want to spook him out.
In the end, both Carrie and Jason Jones were in their home. Jason Jones was arrested in a police raid the next morning. Carrie Jones claimed in court to be cooperating with police, but she was also eventually arrested in December, about 4 months after the killings.
Like, you go to Sioux City and people say, well, where are you from? We say, Laurel. Oh, that's where that bad thing happened last year.
So far, no trial date has been set either for Carrie or Jason Jones. Both remain behind bars awaiting that trial. In Laurel, Nebraska, Matt Hoffman, KTIV News 4.
Carrie Jones will be back in court for a pretrial hearing November 27th. Jason Jones has a pretrial hearing set for January 22nd of next year. Both cases are in Cedar County District Court. As for Jason Jones, he faces the death penalty in the case. You can find out a lot more information about these killings in our coverage on our website at ktiv.com.